So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to my iPhone 12 full review, honest review of this phone. Now I call it honest review because I'm going to be giving you my opinions, my subjective take on this, and I'm not going to be totally objective here. I'm going to be giving more of my personal experience in this one. Now I'll begin with the configuration I went with. So I went with the product red 64 gig. This phone cost me $829. Now I didn't do it with a carrier plan. So if you do it unlocked, it's $829 for this phone. It's actually $799 if you take advantage of your carrier, which I think many people will do. But keep in mind, there is a bump if you do want this unlocked. And you can see after about a little bit over a week of usage, I already have used up 27.3 gigabytes out of 64 gig storage for this iPhone 12. So I wouldn't recommend you go with the 64 gig if you're going to be using a lot of apps, photos, and video. So let's talk about the construction, the body, the build of this phone. So you've seen it multiple times already. This does come with squared off edges here for the iPhone 12. And my honest experience with this is that I've actually quite enjoyed this. I like how the grip feels on the side. The squared edges really gives you a sense of security when holding it. It doesn't feel like you're gonna slip. This phone's gonna slip out of your hand. Does it dig into the corner of your palm? It's a little bit less smooth than the iPhone 11, yes, but doesn't it's not sharp or anything like that. Also, you can stand this phone straight up on a desk, something you weren't able to do before. Not sure why you would want to do that, but you can do it as you were able to do with the old iPhone 5 and SE. Now, this does have Gorilla Glass on the back and on the front, but I have already installed a screen protector because this glass, while it is stronger when it comes to drop protection, it's not scratch proof. You can still scratch this display, and the last thing you want to do is buy an $800 iPhone and have your glass scratched. Now, you might be wondering, are you really rocking it with no case? No, I'm actually using some awesome cases that Torras sent out. Not sponsored, but still they sent these out, and you could see this is one of my favorite here. I'm going to leave a link to these cases down below. I've been rocking this one a lot because this one has this really sturdy kickstand where you can pull it out and actually stand the case up like this, and give you a little way to prop up your phone. You can also put it on an angle like that if you want to watch a video or something like that. It really is very sturdy. It has multiple angles of adjustment as well. Also, if you're laying in bed, you might have it on the bed. You can bring it this way and drop it down. So I've been using that. And also I've been switching up with another Torras case, pretty clean and minimal. It's kind of like a frosted black case you could see right here. And one thing that's nice about these cases is that they're also interchangeable with the iPhone 12 Pro. So if you are getting the iPhone 12 Pro, you'll probably quite like that as well. So definitely feeling these. So I'll leave a link to these cases I've been rocking with my iPhone 12 down below in the description. So yeah, just because you see the phone not in a case in this video doesn't mean I haven't been protecting it. I definitely have. My honest thoughts about the body and the build: this feels like a phone that's ready for daily life, as most iPhones are. It's not fragile, anything like that. It's not gonna bend, nothing like that. You don't have much flex in this phone. There's no creaking and cracking. It feels well put together. And honestly, I think you'd be fine if you put a skin and a screen protector on, but still, if you want the ultimate protection, get a case. The IP68 rating did increase here on this phone, so it's even more peace of mind when it comes to maybe if you get the phone a little bit wet. I also like Apple's attention to detail here when it comes to just the way things are placed. It's like everything is just seemed to be done with such craftsmanship. Like you can see they didn't make a massive camera bump right here. You can see how the antenna lines are perfectly on the same side if you go across here. And also you can see that these buttons are just perfectly centered within that frame. So like it's just the attention to detail here is just here on the iPhone 12. So that's one thing I really liked about the build as well. And you can see it looks like those screws are centered this time, unlike with the iPhone XR. They were a little bit lower. So overall, very well made phone. You're definitely going to like it if you love iPhones. All right, guys, so my thoughts on the display. First thing is first, I really enjoy the reduction in the bezels. The phone feels like it has more screen, even though it's around the same size as the iPhone 11, just because these bezels have been massively reduced here. Now, I'm not feeling the notch. The notch is still here, and some people might be just saying, I'm not getting another iPhone until they remove that notch. The display itself also gets really bright here at 625 nits, and if you are watching HDR10 content, it can hit a peak brightness of 1200 nits. So yeah, the brightness on here is going to be plenty suffice. Now, I will say that when watching video, I'm not seeing a major difference between a prior iPhone experience. Other than, again, you get a little bit more screen to body ratio here because they reduced the bezel. The display is a major upgrade if you have an iPhone XR or an iPhone 11, just due to the saturation as well as the higher pixels per inch. This not only went up in the color, you have 460 ppi now versus like 326 on the prior editions. This is over 1080 here, a little bit over that. So definitely a much improved display for those of you coming from 10R, 11, 7, 8, any of those phones that had the LCD model displays. This is a major upgrade here for the iPhone 12. Where it's not a major upgrade is the 60 Hertz. So you can definitely see this display just doesn't refresh anywhere near that of like a Samsung phone or anything like that. So this 60 Hertz display is kind of annoying. But other than that, I think overall it's a really strong panel here and I really do enjoy it. And I think if you don't care about 60 Hertz, you're gonna love this display. When it comes to the software, this is iOS 14. You've already seen this before if you've been watching YouTube videos on iOS. You can see we have the app library. Of course, you have the ability to add widgets here. Some people actually wait until they can actually get the next phone before they just update. And if you're that person, then you're probably going to be very happy with this upgrade if you stayed on 13. It's got a lot of new features. Some of you might not like it, but you don't have to use the widgets if you don't want to. Now, also when you buy an iPhone 11 or any other new iPhone for that matter, you do get a set of new wallpapers. So you can see these are the ones included for the iPhone 12. They kind of match the color that you go with, but at the same time, you have a few new wallpapers. Just wanted to point that out. And also the camera is pretty much an upgrade if you had the older iPhones. You do have the ability to raise the exposure down here. A lot of nice features here. And also in the video, you have the ability to change the video right there. And of course, you can do HDR video with this camera. So I gotta say, in terms of software, the longevity and support that you're gonna get here is definitely a huge thumbs up. But at this point, iOS 14 has been out for months, at least in beta. So definitely, there's nothing new here when it comes to the software. It's what you've expected from 14 ever since it was launched. Now, when it comes to performance, you've been watching my speed test. This phone is super speedy, but that's not to say that the prior iPhones weren't super speedy. My conclusion and honest experience with this is I felt no major difference from the past couple of generations of iPhone. This feels almost the same. The only thing I noticed is that in iMovie, if we are rendering or if we're doing a video render, maybe even in Luma, you're going to be able to render out videos quicker. You also get a better benchmark score, so you can flex that you have the best benchmark score. But other than that, day to day, really, the iPhone experience is exactly the same. The gestures are just as smooth, and I really think Apple dropped the ball by not putting 120 Hertz here, because if they did, this phone would feel far smoother than the prior edition iPhone. But because they didn't, this phone feels like you're using the same phone in performance. So don't buy this iPhone 12 thinking, oh, my phone's gonna feel so much faster than my 10R or my iPhone 11 or even my iPhone 10. Last thing I wanna touch on is the RAM. If you do have many applications open at once here, this phone will actually reload applications. It's not gonna happen often, but if you're not like opening too many at once, you probably aren't even gonna notice this stuff. But 4 gigs of RAM, if you want more performance when it comes to, heavy usage, I would consider going to the Pro or Pro Max. They're going to have better performance in that arena. So now I want to get on to the cameras of these phones. So you can see that the iPhone 12 is giving you two 12 megapixel cameras. We have a regular main camera, which is just a regular wide 26mm, and then we have an ultra wide 13mm. So the setup is very similar to the iPhone 11. Let's go here, and you can see you can go extra wide, you can punch in. One thing that you don't really get a lot of with this phone is zoom. I don't know why Apple just limits this to 5x. I know they can do a 10x digital here. They should do like a 20x on the Pro and like a 10 here, because 5 is pretty short when you're out and about. Not in this room, but when you're out and about, the 5x can feel a little bit short. Now in video, you can also only do up to 3x in video, and you can also do wide angle video. What's nice about this phone though is that the photography capabilities of this phone are identical basically to the Pro. Also, the wide angle is pretty identical, and if you go into settings here, we back out and let's go over here to the camera settings on this device. You're gonna see that you do have the ability to put this thing in HDR video. Now this HDR video is on by default, and I would recommend turning this off if you're doing post-production editing on this phone, because most software you're probably using is not supporting that high quality video. But if you're just sharing to social media, it's gonna be super colorful. Let's go ahead and turn that back on. and show you how that looks. So if we go to video, so you see in video here, it gets really bright in this HDR mode. However, when you kick it over here to 60 FPS, that HDR mode goes off. So the iPhone 12 cannot do 4K 60 in HDR. You also have portrait modes, panos, and again, you have night mode as well up here, which will take a night shot. You see it got right there. And if I swipe up here, I do have 60:9. So you can do a lot of this pro stuff even on the non-pro iPhone and not have to pay the extra money for the pro iPhone. So you're basically getting a pro camera in here as well, just without that extra telephoto lens. Now, selfie quality is excellent as well with a 12 megapixel camera here. You can also do portraits on the front. You can do great video on the front up to 4K at 60. An amazing front-facing camera on here as well. So anyway, go ahead and take a look at some of the samples I took over the past week, and you could decide for yourself if the iPhone 12 is going to be the phone for you when it comes to camera. Talking about the stereo sound. It's got a very full and not an overly loud, but loud enough sound. So it sounds crispy. It sounds premium, the sound. These phones, they're both equally as smooth, meaning that the 12 Pro is actually no. So overall, I would say good balance on the stereo speakers. Of course, you're going to need Bluetooth headphones to rock out with headphones with this device, as there's only a lightning cable, I think, in the box. There's no charger in the box either. And that brings me on to the battery, since we're talking about no charger in the box. So how has the battery health been for this device? How has it performed in the day-to-day here? Well, I still got 100%. I'm not going to drop in just 10 days down 1%. But my best day, I actually got 5 hours screen time, 5 hours 51. The battery life on this phone for me, the best way I could describe it is if you got 5G on, if you're using the camera, this is a day phone. It's not going much more, meaning the average iPhone user will easily get through the day with this 2815 milliamp hour battery. But I will state that if you have this phone and you think you're going to get like a day and a half, 2 days, unless you're not using it at all, that's likely not going to happen here. This one actually can get anywhere from 4 to 6 hours of screen time in my usage. And if you're using the camera, it can drain a ton throughout the day. You might need to actually charge this thing up middle of the day if you're doing a lot of video and photography on this phone. So overall, this is no battery champion, the iPhone 12. This is a day phone. This is your average good battery iPhone. It's going to make it through the day. It's going to do its job, but it's not going to overly impress you. If you care a lot about your battery, you want the 12 Pro Max that's coming. That's going to have the largest battery of the bunch, and it's going to just be better overall on battery life than this one. But standby on the iPhone, as always, is still excellent for this device. Again, I will state though that the 5G when that's on, it seems to drain more of the battery on this phone, as you would expect. And since we're on the topic of 5G, let's talk about connectivity and phone call. I'm super happy to report that Apple decided to go with Qualcomm again for the modems here. I think it's the X55 in here. It's a 5G modem in here from Qualcomm. You can also get excellent phone call quality and reception on this phone. This is near them Samsung phones now. So I'm very happy with what I've been seeing here. No drop calls, really good overall reception no matter where I was at. And I've had complaints about this in the past, but if you're looking for a better reception phone, this might be enough of a choice right here to make you decide on this device. The 5G on T-Mobile's network, I'm not using the fastest one yet. I think Verizon has the fastest 5G. So for me, I've been feeling like I'm only getting a little bit quicker speeds, but 5G is still not available widespread around the world on pretty much any carrier yet. But it's on its way there. So once we get there, this will probably matter more, but right now it feels like an LTE plus phone. And so overall, the iPhone 12, I think we covered the bases, everything you kind of need to know if you're gonna buy, or if you need to buy this phone, or if this is gonna be the one for you. For me, I would conclude this review by saying my honest opinion over using this phone is that it's got a conservative with a few tweaks to the design feel to it. It feels like Apple is not taking too much risk here, but also giving you enough of a difference. And Apple's really good at this. They know how to keep the experience very similar, but make little tweaks that just make you want it, like these square edges. The design is just beautiful on the square edges, and you might actually really prefer this look over those curved sides of the older iPhones up here on the corners. So that's one thing where Apple really nailed it here. Also, Face ID was basically the same as well. There was no improvements there. No Touch ID scanner. If you guys want the notchless iPhone, a Touch ID scanner on your phone again, or some type of way of getting a fingerprint sensor maybe in display, this phone is not going to be for you. If you wanted 120 Hertz, this display is not going to be for you. However, I still think Apple made this a desirable upgrade by hitting some of the key upgrades that make this phone still feel very modern, like having 5G. New colors again will boost sales again. The sales have been showing it. Also, we do have reduced bezels, which makes this phone feel leagues ahead of the iPhone 11 when it comes to the display department. And the squared edges again just pull people in to say, oh, that looks like my old iPhone 5S. I love that phone. I want that one. So like they've done it again here. They found a way, but make enough little design tweaks to make you desire another iPhone upgrade. Well, that's it for me. I think a lot of people are waiting for the iPhone 12 mini, 12 Pro Max. And for those you keep asking, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Pre-orders on 11/6 with release date of 11/13. So we're not quite there yet. But when those come, I will be launching that as well. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more on the iPhone 12, let me know what it is down below. I'll catch you all in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching this review, and be sure to be well. And if you get an iPhone 12, be sure to enjoy it. It's a great phone. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.